1029 here on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus. Of course, this morning, a lot of talk about Venezuela, what that means for the political landscape, if you will, not only in Venezuela, but here in the States and around the world. Also, with that, the financial world is also buzzing following the weekend's events there, capturing the country's president. President Trump's announcement that the U.S. will at least temporarily run the country, including control of their massive oil reserves. So could this shape the global markets as well, the energy markets? What does that mean at home for our wallet? So as we watch that with the, in the background, we're also watching the Federal Reserve in 2026. Mark Henry, the CEO of Alloy Wealth, joining us here in the Live Impact Studio on WCNZ Plus. Love to have you, Mark.
Thanks for having me on.
Everything affects the wallet at the end of the day, doesn't it?
It seems like it all goes back to one thing, money.
Money. And while we look at why it matters, money matters, that I know you take care of, and we talk about Money Matters on WCNC Charlotte at 4. Speak to this news out of Venezuela when it comes to the market, the economic market, real quick. So, what was your reaction?
Well, it was obviously shocking news. I try to stay out of the weeds with the politics and all that, something I can't control. But when I think about what it potentially could do, so is this going to be a long, drawn-out thing? We've seen how those have played out and how they have sometimes really affected markets because of a long, drawn-out process. There's been many times the United States has entered into I don't even want to say conflicts because it doesn't seem like much of a conflict right now, but they've entered into things that have completely changed their direction. Could this be that? Well, these are the unknowns. So when you think about the actual financial markets, when you're 35 years old, these kind of disruptions, if they turn to be one, could be really good. A downturn in the markets in your 35 is great. And you say, why would it be great? Well, because you're buying really good things, hopefully, on sale. And you get to grow, and that's the whole idea of dollar cost averaging. But this same type of a political event could be terrifying and really not good for a 55-year-old or a 65-year-old that was planning on retiring next week. And let's say this turns into something that it's not currently. But this is how quick the world can change. Overnight we saw this. What an amazing operation. Our military did such a great job. But what if this had gone differently? Yeah. And that's how quickly markets can change. So while everybody has an opinion of what this may do to global markets or oil reserves and things like that, does it really affect our wallet today? Most likely not. It gives us something else to worry about, but we shouldn't. We should have a plan that allows us to confidently navigate this. We're 35, we're ready to put more money in. We're 65, we've already got our portfolio set up so it can't devastate us.
Right, so it all depends on where you are in life. Did see that once opening bell went, that markets were up this morning. And that is this morning, though. So again, one of those things to watch or maybe not watch. Just leave it alone, depending on where you are in life. Can we talk about interest rates for 2026? Maybe expected to drop at least once more this year. And what would that mean for wanting to buy a car, credit cards, but getting a mortgage?
Yeah. So let's break that down a little bit. First off, I expect them to drop. So I think we will see another quarter point cut personally. Now, will I be right? Who knows? But I expect it. What does that mean for your credit card? It doesn't mean anything. Your rate's not going to come down. They don't follow the Fed rate. And if you've got high interest credit card debt, you've got to get it paid off. But what I am looking for is some relief in the home markets. And again, federal rate cuts do not always translate to mortgages coming down. But I think there's some really exciting stuff going on in the mortgage world right now. Our current president is trying to make houses more affordable. They're talking about a 50-year loan and things, which is terrifying. But it's not terrifying because it could get it down. Remember, if you bought a nice house that appreciates and it allows you to get into it today at a payment that you can actually afford, it grows over time. You're most likely going to end up getting a bigger house one day anyway. So was the 50-year mortgage that bad of an idea if it allowed you to get in? So there's some really exciting stuff on that front, and I could see that really spurring our economy. But I personally think we will see a Fed rate cut. What it does also mean, though, is savers. Your money in the bank is not going to be earning what it did a couple of years ago. Okay,
let's talk about you referred to if you're 35 versus 65, retiring, getting ready to retire. Are there signs that we might have a robust market, and if so, why are people nervous about retiring?
Yeah, well, the fear is that they're nervous about retiring for one reason, because they're afraid to break the number one rule of retirement: don't run out of money.
Yes.
And so, unfortunately, we've been trained that there's taught by so many that there's some magical number we have to have. And it's not about a number, it's about a spending plan. When you think about this idea of retirement, it's really unemployment. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's unemployment.
Yes.
And so could you imagine taking your dream job with no idea of how you're going to get paid? Well, you found the dream job and they said, oh, don't worry about the money, you'll be fine. Well, you wouldn't take that job. Why would anyone enter into a 25, 30, 35-year potential unemployment called retirement with no idea of how they're going to spend their money? Where does it come from? Mm-hmm. Dividend stocks, from our statement balance, wherever. That's the issue. You have to have a written income plan when you think about retirement. And that's where so many people are so nervous about what markets might do. We don't need to be nervous about markets. And you say, well, why not? They're going to do what they do. I personally think we may see this market keep going up for a while. Oh. We might. There's a lot of good signs, but it's so fragile right now. When you look at the S&P, think about it. There's only a few companies that are actually propping up the entire S&P. So it could burst like a bubble. Mm-hmm. And economists are on both sides of that fence, because one of them is going to be right. You have one that'll say it's going to go down in 26, and another says it's going to go up. What's the truth? Who knows? Because we don't have a crystal ball. But we can have a confident financial future doing planning correctly.
So regardless of where you are in your life, you still need to have a plan, whether you wanted to retire a couple years from now or 30 years from now. What should people do? First step? What's the first step of the first step?
Always debt is number one. When you think about debt, not so much the house loans and things like that, mm-hmm. and car loans, I love Dave Ramsey, but he would say don't have one. I kind of disagree. I want a good, reliable car, and sometimes it takes a car loan to get that.
Sure.
But credit cards and stuff, they got to go. Emergency fund, you got to have your emergency fund. Yes, it's not paying as much as it once did in the savings account, but you got to have that. Once you do that, get your head around this one idea: pay yourself first. Always pay yourself first. That means investing in your future before you pay everybody else. They have to all get in line because you did the hard work. Pay yourself first.
And what does that mean? You put a couple dollars each paycheck in a bank account or in some sort of IRA?
Right. Or yes. one of the others. Which one?
Okay,
the plethora of ways. Uh-huh. But the idea is most people think about, I got to pay the mortgage first. Well, if I don't pay it, I'll hurt my credit. They'll take my home. I get that. But who did all the work? And you say, well, Mark, if I paid myself 10%, 15% for retirement and saved for life, mm-hmm. there wouldn't be enough money at the end of the month. Well, guess what? Then we have a spending problem. But I still believe you have to get yourself in a position to pay yourself first. So it may mean we have to increase the inflow or we have to decrease the outflow. But if you're going to go to work and put these 40, 50, 60-hour work weeks in, I think you deserve to be paid.
All right. Then on the other side of that, doing nothing in 2026 and beyond, what is the price that we pay when we do nothing, Mark?
I would ask, did you hit your financial goals in 25? Okay, and if you say no, I didn't. Okay.
Yes, I think.
Okay, and so it's one or the other.
I came close.
But if we didn't, why? And what's going to be different in 26? Why does the new mythical new year 2026 automatically mean we're changed and now we are going to hit our goals? We have to do that deep dive and say, okay, I didn't hit them last year. What caused me from hitting them? And then we can't procrastinate. The best day to start was yesterday. If we didn't start yesterday, we have to start today. Inaction is what absolutely, whether you're 65 and you're worried about the markets and stuff, but you've taken no steps to develop a plan, or you're 35 and you're worried about debt and other things, but you've taken no steps to develop a plan. Inaction is what stops everything. We have to break the legacy and go do something.
Okay. And what do we do?
Well, I would start with, depending upon where you're at. If you find yourself in debt, and that was one of the goals for last year, why did it not work? Loud budgeting is a great way. Tell your friends, tell your family what you intend to do in 26. Hold yourself accountable. If you're in your 50s or 60s and you are worried about retirement one day, or even forced retirement, a lot of times people want to work 5 more years, but then the company outsizes, downsizes, AI replaces us, whatever it is. What have you done to put a plan in place so if you had to retire tomorrow, can you? What would that look like? And if it doesn't look like what you want it to look like, good news in that example, you're not retired and we still have a few years to try to fix it. Again, it's the inaction. The polarizing effect of procrastination is what keeps us from hitting where we want to be in life.
Yeah, I was going to say procrastination. The people procrastinate because they don't want to see the truth and, look at the problems and then move forward from it. What do you say to get clients or folks motivated about doing the work that needs to be done, doing that deep dive in your own finances?
It's something we all have to go through. It's nothing that somebody else hasn't already done. Where you're telling your friends and stuff, they want to do the same things you want to do. The reality is this: if you're going to live like no one else, you're going to have to start today living like no one else. If you're in debt, it's going to be hard for a little while. Like it's been for everybody else. If you have student loans, it's going to be hard. Guess what? Let's get the hard done now so that we get to live easy. Everybody goes, oh, he's so lucky, she's so lucky. Look at them. It seems like she has the world. But they don't see the hard work that she put in to get there. Let's do the hard thing today so we can do the easy thing tomorrow.
Great message to start off this new year. Mark Henry from Alloy Wealth Management. Appreciate the good conversation as always when it comes to what is happening to your wallet, where is the money, and all of the money that matters. More on this topic as well. Money matters, of course, coming up at 4 o'clock later this afternoon on WCNC Charlotte. Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back on Live Impact News on WCNC Plus.